Now we'll make the web for our bracket here. I'll go into a front view and do another extrusion. I'll choose Home and Extrusion, and I'll draw this by shape. And using my line tool, simply snapping onto the points of the inside on the flanges. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, back to the beginning here. And the check to accept it. And I'll make the depth on this, again, that 3/8 of an inch will work nicely. And it looks like that depth came out a little oddly. Let's try this again, 0.375 inches. There it is. It took a sec to accept it. What I'll do on this is either center this or, again, use that trick of working around 0 here to get it in the right place so that the extrusion end is at, let's just even copy and paste, (3/16), and the extrusion start is at (-3/16). And apply. And now when I go in my 3D view, there's that web right in the middle. And of course, we could always find ways to align this and do things in several ways, but it never hurts to just plan it based on the measurements and be done with it. The last part we need then is a void form to subtract out here a bit of this web as if it's cut around this pole. And the reason I placed the pole in the beginning is to use it really as a template. So I'll go into my reference level floor plan, and I'm going to start out then under Home and using a void form for the extrusion, void extrusion, and I'll draw this with an arc, and I'm going to use the center end and end. And I realize before I do that I've got to move over my my beam a little bit, or I can draw this now, that's fine, come back to it. So here is the center point, and roughly kind of eyeballing the distance across here. Here is at a 45, 1, 2 ends. And then I'll use the line tool to just give this depth here, snapping it on fairly quickly. Back. And the check to accept it. And there is my void form. And so if I go in my 3D, there it is down here. And I can always grab an arrow on top of any extrusion form on the sides and pull it around further. And there we are in good shape. Now what I'll do is in my top view, or my floor plan reference level, I'm going to pick the web and the flange and use the Move tool right here from an intersection or an end point, or even a center. There's my midpoint registering. And I'm going to pull this over into that shape, making sure that those flanges cleanly contact the pole. And we'll do this in a 3D view to be able to see it better. Now I can take the post, actually delete it. I'll take my void form, and even using the arrows, I'll pull it up on the top. And here on the bottom, get a little closer. And what we use a void form for is a cutter. So I'll pick the flange and cut, and let's pick the cut and the flange and the void, and there is that subtraction. The last thing I'll do, I realize, is trim back this web as I left it a little long accidentally. Very easy to fix. Going to modify, back to the front elevation, select that flange, and I can edit the extrusion or even just drag it back here. And I'm going to edit that extrusion picking an end of a line, snapping it onto a point, picking it, and snapping it. And finally, I will pick, modify please, my end line and snap its points on as well. And as always, there's guaranteed 5 ways to do this. Great. I'll accept the extrusion. Now it's cut back properly. And there is my bench support, basically ready to go. I want to get the height in the right place next, as well as naming some other properties, but the model itself is done and ready for implementation as part of a family.